Hey internet friends, a few videos ago I told you I was done talking about our state actor, Bill Gates. Since then, however, the media has totally turned on him after the announcement of his divorce from Melinda. A lot of you are asking me why. Why the 180 all of a sudden? So in this video, I'm going to tell you my theory on why the media has suddenly turned on Bill. In early May, after 27 years of marriage and decades of testing out snake oil in third world countries together, Bill and Melinda announced that they were divorcing. Their net worth is around $124 billion, so presumably that's getting split up. And the future of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is uncertain. But if money is power, then this couple is one of the most publicly powerful couples in existence today. In 1994, Bill married Melinda French, a marketing manager at Microsoft and daughter of an aerospace engineer from Dallas, Texas. And together they've had 3 children. The whole story of their wealth is centered around Microsoft and its success. But the couple's focus across the last few decades has been pharmaceuticals and medicine, in an endeavor they've branded as philanthropy, as Bill Gates and his foundation is, in my opinion, really just the continuation of Rockefeller medicine. There are many layers to this modern-day Devil Bill scandal, so let me lay it out for you. The Wall Street Journal reported on May 9th that, quote, Melinda Gates has been meeting with lawyers since 2019 as she's planned for the divorce. The paper reported on earlier revelations that Bill Gates had spent time with Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently, Melinda Gates had worried about Epstein's relationship with Bill. The New York Times reported in October of 2019 that Bill had met with Epstein many times since 2011, though Bill Gates has denied any business relationship or friendship with Epstein. By the way, anytime I post this picture on social media, I immediately get fact checkers all over it within like 5 seconds. But the story behind this picture is that it was taken at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in Manhattan, and pictured from left to right, James Staley, who was at the time a senior JP Morgan executive, former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, who's also a Genie Energy advisor. If you remember, New Jersey-based Genie Energy is digging for oil in Syria right now, even though it clearly violates international law under the Geneva Convention. Other Genie Energy members include Dick Cheney, Rupert Murdoch, Lord Jacob Rothschild, and ex-CIA Director James Woolsey. Genie Energy is a huge U.S. government conflict of interest. But I digress. Okay, next in the picture we have Jeffrey Epstein, then Bill Gates, and Boris Nikolic, who was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation science advisor. To summarize what I've just said here, the news is trying to make it seem like the Epstein connections going public were the last straw for Melinda. And she wanted a divorce, with the implication that she's taking the moral high ground and is alarmed by Bill's connections. Furthermore, stories were leaked about Bill Gates' affair that happened nearly 20 years ago, making him look like an all-around sleazeball because he's a womanizer and went to Epstein Island, and whatever happened there probably involved underage girls. Procured by Ghislaine Maxwell, whose trial is set for November. In my opinion, it's the same PR move they pulled with nursing home grandma killer and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, when the stories about nursing home death tolls were released. Instead of the media focusing on those numbers, the media ran a story on allegations of Cuomo making sexual marks on a staffer's looks, as well as other inappropriate questions and comments. So that story really overshadowed the nursing home story. Even though, can we just say, killing a bunch of old people and keeping them from their families, making them die alone, hiding the numbers, I feel like that's objectively way worse than, commenting on somebody's looks at work or making sexual remarks to somebody at work. Neither are good. Neither are good behavior, but one is way worse than the other. Anyway, I think that's what they're doing here, floating one story to redirect attention elsewhere. Let me explain the first layer of my very simple theory. Just like with Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' divorce last year, Bill and Melinda allegedly had no prenup. So as part of their divorce, tons of stocks are liquidated, reportedly divided between spouses. These are some of the publicly richest people in the world moving around tons of money during a very precarious time. If they publicly did so without the pretext of divorce, then the whole world would follow suit. Monkey see, monkey do style with the billionaires and their money moves. Billionaire is really a divisive word on this channel because that amount of money is just a number on a screen. It's just a push of a button, but these digital dollars, this fake cash, whatever you want to call it, you can make the argument that it buys up real assets. And right now, there are so many rumors of economic collapse and hyperinflation. It would be the perfect time to go liquidate all your stock and go be degenerate in your multi-million-dollar bunker, while the rest of us go get our wheelbarrows full of petrodollars and go buy our loaves of bread. I just don't really buy the moral high road that Melinda is taking here with the Epstein associations, or that she was burned by his affair. Because in a 1997 Time magazine profile 3 years after he married Melinda, Bill explained that he spent a long weekend every year with his old girlfriend, Ann Winblad. Now, ladies, comment below if you'd be okay with your husband spending a long weekend away every year with his ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I just don't buy the moral high ground either when you run an organization that does experimental medicine on third world countries. I just don't buy anything the news is saying. And going around right now is all this hopium that Ghislaine is going to spill the beans about Bill Gates and his antics with Epstein, and that's why the media has turned on Bill and yada yada yada. I don't do hopium either. I don't do hopium on this channel unless it's warranted, and most likely it's not in this scenario. I've already shown you on this channel how the Gates Foundation has a backdoor deal with several media companies in the form of grants, and that's why Bill's been the media darling for so long. The benevolent philanthropist. And I guarantee you any stories they're pumping out right now about him, those are being pumped out for a reason and by his own managing company's direction. It's all a distraction, in my opinion, because the real story is this. Bill Gates comes from a banking family, a Federal Reserve banking family, as his great-granddad was the head of the Federal Reserve. So his family was way richer than you or me could ever imagine way before he even muttered the word Microsoft. At the same time Microsoft was getting off the ground, they were being managed by Mitt Romney and associates at Bain & Company, where they took Microsoft as a shell company and staffed it with Bain people, setting Bill up for even more success as the front man for the company. While they were doing this, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, a British publishing baron, was pumping money in the form of investments into Bain Capital, which was ran by Mitt Romney at the time. If you haven't seen my video on Ghislaine and her family, I'll spoil it for you. Major spoilers ahead. Robert Maxwell was a not-so-kosher spy. His loyalties were allegedly between Great Britain, Israel, and Russia, as he was suspected as a triple or double agent. Fast forward, his daughter is hanging out with Epstein over at a little island, allegedly blackmailing politicians and prominent figures, so the whole spy thing really seems generational. And the consensus seems to be that Mossad was controlling the whole operation of luring in these figureheads to this island, tempting them with unspeakable things, and blackmailing them. The only question is, blackmailing them to do what? So Bain, which was financed by an Israeli spy, staffed Microsoft with Bain people, announced Bill Gates as their front man, and now Microsoft operating systems are on every government computer in our country, which allows them backdoor access to whatever secrets our nation holds. And then the little cherry on the top is that there was an island where blackmail was taking place by the same organization. And Bill Gates hung out with his buddy Epstein, all while Bain Company managed the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, testing out snake oil on third world countries, all while Bill ran around to TED Talks like he did in 2015, warning of a coronavirus-like threat that was the next big threat to humanity and predicted to the audience that he would be the savior of this future pandemic. Then in 2018, Bill ran a pandemic virus simulation which he projected would kill 33 million people if the simulation came to fruition. Then in October of 2019, the Gates Foundation hosted Event 201 at the World Economic Forum in New York, which was a high-level pandemic exercise that played out a novel coronavirus pandemic with potentially catastrophic consequences. At the exact same time Event 201 was happening, the 2019 Military World Games were taking place, hosting 110 nations and thousands of military members from around the world in none other than Ground Zero, Wuhan, China. Of course, all of this took place before any news media announced anything about a virus. Then, on February 28, 2020, Bill Gates called corona a once-in-a-century pathogen we've all been worried about, and he sounded the alarm for world leaders to respond accordingly. A few weeks later, Bill Gates stepped down from the Microsoft board of directors, and then he began funneling cash into creating a solution to this problem in the form of a pharmaceutical injection. And now, May 2021, he's seen his efforts just blossom because people carry around little cards saying they've been injected with one of the injections he's funded. And they expect these little cards to grant them freedoms to return to normal. That's the real story. Do I think Bill Gates is a womanizer and Melinda is a woman scorned who finally had enough? Absolutely not. Not for a second. Am I supposed to care that the guy who was injecting the world with experimental snake oil, buying up the farmland, investing in Monsanto, a Bain company who controls the world's food supply, releasing GMO mosquitoes, hanging out at Epstein Island? Am I supposed to care that he was unfaithful in his marriage? Is that really his greatest sin here? The deflection and distraction is just off the charts. Bill and Melinda, they're all state actors. Actors. I mean it. Most likely they're just moving money around. And that's my theory. But I want to hear yours, internet friends. Let me know. I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye.